Today we're going to talk about big pricing changes with Princess, a little bit more about the Island Princess. NCL made a big announcement, Delta. We've also got to talk about a generator explosion on a cruise ship and lots more. So let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips, and today is Thursday. It's October 19th of 2023, so right off, will you please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already? We'd love to have you with us, and I think you'll really enjoy being part of the conversation. If you're new around here, we talk about cruising an awful lot, helpful tips when you go on a cruise, as well as all of the travel associated with cruising. This is a good place to be to make sure that all of your travels go smoothly. Also, if you appreciate my updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? I very much appreciate your support, so thank you. Now let's start at the top here with the Island Princess. We disembarked the Island Princess yesterday morning in Southampton, England there. It seems like such a long time ago now, but we disembarked, and then the next people who were embarking on that ship were set off to go to a bunch of Baltic ports and then head down and hit like Brussels and Le Havre. And so they have had really bad weather though, and the ship has had to stay docked there in Southampton until noon today. So it was set to leave early evening yesterday on Wednesday, and today is finally when she was able to set sail. But due to the bad weather, they are going to have to take Hamburg off of the itinerary. So I don't know if they are going to make another port substitution. You might remember when we were just on the Island Princess for those 2 weeks, we had to miss Stavanger due to weather, and they added a stop in the port of Trondheim, which was lovely. I love Trondheim, Norway. So that turned out really nicely, but at the same time, you miss everything you were going to see in the other ports. So I know it's nice when you can stick to the itinerary because that's what you planned on. But that is a big announcement with the Island Princess. So we'll kind of follow along with her and see how everything goes. A thing I want to say about the Island Princess is thoroughly enjoyed our cruise on board that ship. I would do it again in a heartbeat. We had already done the Norway cruise during the Midnight Sun time of year, which was at the end of June in 2018, and it was very valuable, very much worth it to go on this cruise as well. You spend so much time up in the Arctic Circle and at a time of year when you can see the Northern Lights. So it was absolutely spectacular to be able to see them, and we very much enjoyed this cruise. We enjoyed it even more because it was a group cruise. That made everything even more special. But I highly recommend doing this cruise even if you have done it before. And if you need any help booking that, I would be delighted to help you now that I've done it and can be a real good help with you to that. Now, along with that, let me tell you, along the way, you heard me say that the Wi-Fi was not good. The Wi-Fi wasn't good, and it just about killed me. I am not going to go on a 2-week cruise in the near future again because it was too hard on me. It was hard on me to not be able to keep up with all everything that I normally like to do and be with all of you, and our videos took hours to upload, so that was hard, but at least that keeps trying. When you can't log into a secure website or some of your emails won't go, the system will just time out. Luckily with the video, it will sit there for hours and finally go up. So keep that in mind if you are thinking of going on a cruise and you really need to work. That's a really important thing to keep in mind. I know sometimes it's nice to be able to work when you can, but if you feel like you really need to work, think twice about that, because that was hard. So I'm really happy to be home and back to normal Wi-Fi. So if anybody is missing a reply from me, I noticed a few emails had come in that I've never seen before that were on different days, and so don't hesitate to send me another email. If you've got my phone number and you needed something, send me a text. I'm happy to help, okay? Now, let's get on to business here. So first of all, NCL, Norwegian Cruise Line, they're the first cruise line that I know of that has officially canceled all of their cruise calls in Israel through the end of 2023. Now, I know that several of the other cruise lines have canceled some of their calls to those ports, but that is the only one that had several calls through the end of the year, and they have canceled it. I would add, Princess has canceled all of theirs. They were only going to go a couple of times and those have been canceled, but it'll be interesting to see further. I am sure all of the other cruise lines are going to have to cancel theirs as well, given the state of affairs there. So if you've got a cruise that was intended to call in Israel or Egypt through the end of the year, keep us posted if you haven't heard yet. I'm interested to hear everything that Azamara has to say about their cruises, as well as some others. So if you've got any news in, please share it with me, because it takes all of us to stay on top of everything. Also, I wanted to let you know that thinking of Southampton there, we flew home from Heathrow. Heathrow has a new system there that you can actually save your place in the security line. I will tell you that with Delta, we're Sky Priority, so we checked in the Sky Priority line, and she pointed us right over there in Southampton Terminal 3, pointed us right over to an elevator that is really right next door. You've got your Sky Priority check-in. Right next to that is your Delta One, and right next to that is an elevator that you get to go through the security that is a much shorter line, and so that's a perk of that. But the regular line for security at Heathrow is always very long. I've been in that before several times as well, and they have a new website that you can just go in, and up to 3 days before, you can save your place in line, actually set a time for it. And as I tried to do that just to try it out, I didn't have a flight number to put in to complete the process. And so if you've got a flight coming up, definitely do that. And I'll have Gordon put that link to where you need to go to do that underneath the website. But otherwise, you can just do that. And it doesn't cost. It's completely free. They're doing the 6-month trial to see if it helps people out. I will say one thing I really liked about Heathrow yesterday is that we were in line there to get checked in, and there were people who were arriving late to be able to go on their flight that was departing much sooner, and the Delta people there were amazing. They were very kind. They helped them get up to the front of the line so they could get, and helped them get through security fast so that they didn't miss their flight. I love that. Not all airport employees are as accommodating, and I really appreciated that. I didn't have it happen to me at that airport, but I was really glad to see that they were doing that. Another update that I need to talk to you about here is what's going on with Princess pricing. Now, Princess does have a webinar today, but I wanted to get all the news out to you, and so I'm assuming that I'll have more information on this for you tomorrow, I'm hopeful. But Princess is trying to redo their pricing structure and make it so that it remains the best deal to book a cruise when they're first announced, that remains the best price for a cruise, rather than having so many. Right now, I know on some of their cruises, they've got their drop and go rates. As it gets closer to the cruise and they want to fill up the ships all the way, they drop the price. And so they said that they're going to take that away and make it, like I said, so that you still have that you get a better price if you book further out and lock in those. So that's a change. They also are announcing their best price guarantee, and this is interesting to me because it says if guests find a lower fare than their initial booking time. Let's start that again. If guests find a lower fare than their initial booking within the 72 hours of making the reservation, then Princess will price match that difference. The interesting thing to me about that here, and this is on Cruise Hive, it says the match will be made via an upgrade to a higher category stateroom, an onboard credit valued at 110% of the price difference, or other potential offers. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. Historically, if there has been a better price and there weren't other prevailing factors that made it so that you can't rebook at that better price, you just go in and rebook and get the better price, right? You keep the same cabin, you keep the same everything, you just get that better price. So it's going to be interesting to see if that changes going forward, or just how they do that, because never before have they mentioned that you're going to get an upgrade, to make up for that price difference to a higher category, 110% of onboard credit, whatever. I personally, if something's a better price, I would just rather have the better price. I don't really want the onboard credit at 110%, but I don't spend a lot of onboard credit. And so you can do it with, so here's a side note. You can use the onboard credit you get with your booking to book excursions. It just gets tricky if you end up having to cancel any excursions and making sure that you get that onboard credit back. And them to try to use it again, to book a different excursion. And then if you do refare and you lose any of that onboard credit, it can just become a big mess. So I really prefer just to have a better cruise fare and not have to worry about all that. But if you're someone that gets to sail with an amazing amount of onboard credit, definitely book your excursions. If you have to cancel, it might be a little bit of a hassle, or it might work out just smoothly, but keep all of that in mind. And another important thing that goes with that we are also looking to hear more information on is Princess is going to permit guests to lock in a low rate for a booking in the distant future, even if you don't know what day you want to sail. And more information on that is supposed to be forthcoming. But my guess is it's going to be like, you know what, in 2024, we know that we want to go to Alaska. And we haven't decided yet exactly which day we want to go, but we know we want to go. And so lock in the pricing on that. So as soon as we get more information on that, I'll let you know how we do that and what it looks like in practical experience. Okay, I'm excited to hear about that. The last thing that Princess announced with the changes to their pricing is they are going to try to offer more often these favorable rates for the third and fourth guests in a stateroom. That really helps out families a lot, especially people sailing with children, or if you have a group of friends and they're happy to share the same room and get to go on the trip together, that will really help with the price. So we'll keep our eyes out for those a little bit more too. There are a lot of cruises actually that have either the third and fourth guests sail free or that they are at a reduced rate. So that's very nice. Finally, let's talk about the generator explosion. We don't hear about that happening very often, but up in Portland, Maine, a generator exploded on a cruise ship this morning, and it blew up, apparently exploded about 7:30 in the morning. So everyone talked about how there were fire boats and fire trucks there next to where the ship is that the explosion occurred on. There was only one person hurt reported so far. They had to be taken to the hospital with burns. It says that those burns are not life-threatening, but they are definitely in the hospital for them, probably a crew member right there by where the generator was. So the generator exploded, and apparently that made a small fire in the engine room and a lot of smoke on the ship. So all of the passengers have been evacuated, and they need to wait until all of the smoke clears and until they can do their investigation to be able to figure out if that cruise ship is going to even be able to continue the sailing. Apparently there are 126 passengers on board and 128 passengers on board and 82 crew members. It is the Ocean Navigator that is owned by the American Queen Voyages. So that's what's going on there. It's amazing the things that can happen that can really slow down a cruise or impact the crew members, just everything. So we'll keep that crew member in our prayers, and hopefully he or she will have a full recovery. Alrighty, Delta. And then we're going to talk about the Royal Princess really quick here. So Delta, you might remember about a month ago or so, made changes to their loyalty program, and nobody was happy about it. The hashtag loyalty goes both ways came out, and it has been very popular. And truly, Delta made sweeping changes to their loyalty program. Well, they've had to backpedal a little bit because of the amount of outrage that they have had, negative press that they have received about this. I've read a few of the interviews that Ed Bastian, the CEO of Delta, has given lately, and I still don't think they quite understand how disenchanted people are with Delta over these changes and really the big impact that will have on their future business. Delta has, the big change that they made was that you were well, there were several big changes, but the one truly I think that stands out the most is that you're no longer going to be able to get any of your loyalty by the number of miles that you fly with Delta. It is entirely based on your spending on their credit cards. Now, you might recall in one of my videos, I let you know that in like the last quarter that Delta reported, they got more money from American Express for the spending that they had on their cards. That income was greater than what they earned on their airlines. So they are truly a little bit more of a credit card company than they are of an airline. Really kind of an interesting situation here. So the loyalty that you earn is going to be based on how much you spend on your card. Well, Delta backpedaled a little bit, let me tell you. So to have for your 2025 medallion status. So 2024 has been worked on, like what you do in 2023 determines your status for 2024. What you do in 2024, of course, is going to affect 2025. So for that 2025 medallion status, if you want to be silver status, you've got to have, it used to be, they said you had to have 6,000. They lowered it down to 5. The golden, to be gold status, they lowered it from 12 down to 10. Platinum, they lowered from 18 to 15,000 medallion qualifying dollars you've got to spend, and the diamond medallion status from 35,000 to 28. Note that those new limits they put in, that they lowered things to, are still a chunk higher than they were for 2023, okay? And what you would have to earn to be for 2024. So it is still a significant increase, and it is the highest that we have seen from an airline in recent years, okay? Maybe in ever. But the analyses that I have read only tracked back a few years. So we are supposed to be getting more information about this. I'm going to keep my eye open for you. I have not decided yet if I'm going to keep my Delta Reserve card for next year or not. It expires next March. And so I'll see if I think it's worth it or not. But for that platinum status, you have to spend on your credit card up $150,000. That's a lot. And then if you wanted to earn that diamond medallion, you've got to spend $280,000 on your credit card in order to earn that status. Another thing that was really big that they've made a change to is they really cut down how much people could use the lounges, and people that use those lounges really enjoy them. I'm not really that big of a deal with lounges. We just usually find somewhere nice to sit down when I do my work when we're waiting in an airport. But they are making it so that they are giving a little bit of that accessibility to the lounges back. So if you've got questions about that, put that down below. I'll talk to you about that a little bit more. I'm keeping my eye on some places that always, like the Points Guy does a really good job. Fairdrop, they do a really good job with that. And Fairdrop, by the way, today, I believe it is, they said that today, so this is quick for today, Thursday, there is a sale on Southwest. So if you like to fly on Southwest Airlines and you've got any trips coming up or anything in mind, this might be a good day to book your flights. Finally, the last thing for today is the Royal Princess. So the Royal Princess is just making her first call in Auckland, New Zealand. She is actually going to be sailing from Auckland down to Sydney and other areas there in that region for a whole 6 months. It's very exciting. The Grand Princess is also going to be sailing down there, as is the Coral Princess and the Majestic Princess. So Princess is giving a lot of their resources to cruises down there. A lot of people who live in that region like to hop on the cruises and go cruising there, as well as people coming from the United States and other places in the world to see such a beautiful region in the world there by cruise. So I thought it was really fun to note that if you want to go on a princess cruise down there in New Zealand, in Australia, this is a great time to do it. If you want to put cruises together so that you can see the Great Barrier Reef and see New Zealand at the same time, you can let me know, because I think I've got it figured out. All right. That's really a big deal. And other cruise lines do that as well. So there are lots of options for that. If you have any questions, please put it down below. I know a lot of you haven't seen my video yesterday about disembarkation. I know a lot of you cruise a lot, but if you wouldn't mind watching it and add your experience in the comments below. We have such an amazing community here, and we're such a wonderful resource for each other. So I would appreciate that if you would do that, lend your expertise there as well. I will be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.